Hello, storytellers. Storytelling Ron here, and I want to talk about. I've got a comment here. I'm going to make a video. Thank you, Rob, for your comments and your emails. Could you do a short video on why ttrpgs are the best games in general, as opposed to card games, dice games, or board games, and why For the Lord is the best ttrpg for Christian families, Christian groups specifically? Wow. Okay. Well, all my videos are based on that. The last part, the latter part. But anyway, let's go through card games, dice games, or board games. So, do I have a card game? I don't have Magic the Gathering or anything like that. I play Pinochle with my old Polish Wisconsin family, but and I play that Korean card game where they I don't know what it's called. I forgot, but we play with my mom because my mom's Korean. So I play Pinochle for Polish, and I don't know the Korean name for the card game, the Korean card game we have. It's pretty weird and funky. Play that game. Do I enjoy it? Yeah, I enjoy it, but obviously my heart's into TTRPGs. Let me just cut to the chase. TTRPGs are harder, more difficult, and you really have to have the DNA for it. It has to be a DNA thing, because I can tell, like my wife, I've heard so many guys' wives play the game, but they can leave it, or play it or leave with it, or play it or not. It doesn't matter to them. They enjoy it. My wife's really good at doing the role playing game. She really comes up with ideas and da da da. But and I even had some long sessions with her years ago just to get into it, like with her, even one-on-one with her. It was very interesting. But at some point we just got tired and we just stopped playing. And because she just wasn't like, when she played, she was into it. But afterwards, no mention of it. Like just went on with her life kind of thing. You kind of need that feedback to keep playing it, in the sense of it's part of your psyche, it's part of your DNA, and some people have it and some people don't. So that's really, you have to, you don't know if you have it until you start doing and trying it out, and if you have it because you think about it when you don't play. You think of ideas, you work on it, so TNT RPGs are way harder, way more investment. It's about storytelling. It's about being part of a storytelling with each other. There's not a board that you're stuck in a confined space in a one-off. All these board games are one-offs. They're not continuations of a storyline, of a campaign, which requires DNA to do. So that's my take on that. Why are TTRPG better? They're better, but they're only better because you want to invest in it. They're not better if you could take it or leave it. If it's like a board game where you just play and you're done, and then you go about doing whatever else you want to do. But if you think about it a little bit more than just when you're playing it, then there's a potential that you have the DNA for it. Otherwise, I would suggest just doing board games or card games or dice games. So let me just go through some dice games that I play, just my take on them, because I don't have a very good take on them, by the way. I go to the homeschool conventions to sell my books, and I'm working on the For the Lord RPGs to sell, and they got that booth with the Settlers of Catan. I never played Settlers of Catan. I never played it, never got it for my daughters. I've seen every family I've sort of visited, they have the book of Settlers of Catan with a couple of versions, and that booth at the homeschool convention, or various booths will have Settlers of Catan, and they'll have like a whole library of Settlers of Catan settings or whatever the heck. I was like, what the heck? I've never played it though, so I mean, one day I should play it, but not interested. Don't have the DNA for it. Anyway, so board games are not my thing, and I've tried. I'm going to show you a few that I have played. But I just don't. Let me go through this real quick. I do want to show you guys a couple things here. First, a little commercial. So this is my website, Ron Smorensky, but you can just look up Christians in Space, or you can go to my website. I mean, this is on Amazon. You go to my website, and then it'll link to all these, my stuff. So here's my Christians in Space, the ones that I've recently put out. By the way, some of you guys, I need reviews from some of you guys that are my players who have bought my games or books. Give me some reviews now. I gotta put it on my Discord, remind them. But I need some reviews. Not honest reviews. I just need marketing, promo, BS reviews. Just sell it. That's what I need. Okay. And I'm just so feel like I'm coming to a. Sorry, always itch my nose and stuff. I feel like I'm coming to a the top of the hill kind of thing with finally making them as hardbound books, and finally having them as a something I can quickly, even when I'm doing my online game, I have it here that I can just woo. And at the last few pages are all reference stuff. So like the the different tables, and the one I really only use is Nat One Foibles, and then one of the guy players has it. It's funny, but there's a bunch on here. I just got to get used to them all being here, and they're all handy dandy. But I rarely need them. I really need them in the game. The game is very straightforward, and I get it, and I don't need to look at the book that much for the rules, because the only thing I would need to... Why is my nose itching? It's always itching, and I've got to do it right on video. Okay, why are... what was I going to say? See? Threw me off. Lost my train of thought. Whatever. Okay. So those are the games. Let me get back to... my Alfred series is on here. It is not... This is one of many things that I encounter. It is not ages 8 to 12, and I fixed it, I hope. But I've never put ages 8 to 12 in my books. Never. I've always done 8, 9 to 18 plus, which is the option. Never done... I don't know how this got here. I never would have done that. Never. So it's in a few of the books. I don't know why. But this is ages 8 to adult. And by the way, the books are really for adults secretly. I wrote it secretly for myself, even though I wrote it to read to my daughter when she was young. But it's adult themes. Alfred deals with adults in the story, and there's adult romance in it. There's adult storylines in it. There's adult challenges, and there's death and stuff like that. So an epic battles. I wanted the battles to be described in thorough, at length type of thing with all the crunch that you come to know and feel and love. That's the one thing about Lord of the Rings that bums me out, is how weirdly quick the battles are described or described in afterthought or whatever. I get to the action, and I get to pacing the action and throughout the whole stories. Although I will say this, in case you do start reading it, I like the first half of the book to kind of be like there's this long build up, but then the second half of the book is just constant, craziness. So there's a payoff. I'm always however long the build up is, I'm building up to a payoff. So I just want you to know that for you and for me and for anyone that wants to read it. And I even did, it was really cool, at the last homeschool convention, this family came up to me and told me that this is her daughter's favorite book. I was like, oh wow, okay, how, where is she? She's not here, she's at church. I'm like, she's at church? What do you leave your daughter at church? She's working. I'm like, working? Oh, she's 22. This is her favorite series. So that was really cool to 22-year-old woman, young lady, this is her favorite series. And those people read. So those types read. Yes, I'm a bigot. Stereotype, whatever. Okay, so this is my Night of the Dead. Very adult, very hardcore. It's about a knight. It's about a modern day guy with medieval armor living in Hollywood during a zombie apocalypse. I don't know. I don't have any frame of reference for that. Very epic, very crazy, very brutal, gory. It's funny, on book 3, my sister is my editor, and she's like, I toned down the gore, and she's all, no. She's very Christian, and I just kind of wanted to tone it down a little bit, and she's all, no, that's what made this thing intense. You gotta, so I had to go back and bring it back in. Conquest of the Evermire is my very D&D-ish type series. I still had like a church in there, but I didn't bring up Christianity in it. But it's a sort of a side story that I'm doing that I kind of dabble in. So if you're interested, funded little adventures. And this is the continuation of the Night of the Dead. Very, very epic, cool stuff. I have an idea for the next one, but I just haven't gotten to it. And then I'm working on volume 6 of this, but I'm kind of going slowly because of my For the Lord stuff that I'm working on. I feel like I'm trying to get over this hump, and the hump is right now is the Dark Ages, which I'm just about done. I got like a page or two left of this for the rule book, but then I got to do a campaign book, which is outlined. It's all there. I just got to put in the filler and the artwork and all that. But that'll take a while, but it'll be fun. Anyway, so that's my tabletop RPG, loving, joyful stuff that I'm working on. I'll just get to that right now. Christian families, Christian groups. If you have the DNA for role playing games and you're a Christian, I am obviously pushing and contentiously so for the Lord RPG. Yeah, I'm very contentious, very stubborn, very even though I'm actually really a super nice guy, and if you play like D&D or other games, it's like whatever. I don't. That's not a salvation issue to me, but I'm gonna be overly judgmental, just because, it's like figure it out, like that coach or something, like a football coach or something. I'm gonna be like that, sort of thing. All right, so let's talk about these games, and I'm gonna do that. I gotta pause the game. We'll talk about these games. Okay, for you it was a cut. For me, it was doing some stuff. Okay, the games. Let's start. I do want to go to this. Let me. I'll do zombie dice here in a sec. I actually want to go back to this. So, Game of Life. That's definitely one that I played with my homeschool, when I was a kid, and then of course with my family. And the reason I like it is because, life, it kind of gives you a perspective. Oh, here. Oh, this is the old one. Ooh, very cool. I just noticed this. All right, this is sort of I was a little bit newer than this. But this is kind of like, come on, give me a high res. That's really the low res like that? Ugh. Anyway, I love these little mountains and stuff that they had in the game. This is terrible. Wow, that's the old version. Okay. I wonder if they have a 80s version of it, because it was this same format but better artwork. That's interesting. Game of Life Vintage. Wow. Okay. But anyway, the new version, I hate this one. This one sucks. The board looks lame. There's just flat and bleh. I don't like that. And I was looking to see if it went woke, and it kind of went woke. This one here, I know I'm going into woke stuff now. They got 6 colors for the characters, so you can, although it's still male and female, I can see that, but they're trying to show like weirdiness. 6 colors, so they're not the male and female like the original Life. Adds pets. Oh, that's interesting. A lot of different versions. Okay, there's that. I liked using Life and Payday for when I was homeschooling the girls, because let's just look up Payday real quick. Payday was good because it taught them about money, like about Payday game Payday. There, this one. So this one was cool because it really did teach them about money, games, buying, selling, and I kind of wanted to give them a sense of that. Yard sale, all this kind of stuff. That was kind of neat. I tried to look for games that taught them about money, about business, and both of them are doing well. They're making more money than I am right now. So one is a senior tax accountant. So yeah, and she's 26, 25, about to be 26. Candyland was awesome. Yahtzee I played, that was cool. I used to be a chess dude. I used to be into chess like in junior high, like way into it, but then I got sick of it. I got tired of the whole, memorizing the moves type of thing. You got to go 5-6 moves ahead in every direction. So I just got tired of it. I just like, it just doesn't interest me. That's how you have to be good, is to memorize all those moves. I feel like that was a skill in life that I just didn't need. So not into chess. This sound looks cover your assets. Anyway, okay, I'm going off a little bit. Am I going off? No, I don't know. What am I doing here? Okay. All right. The games that I've played. Zombie dice. Now these are pencil eraser brains, but the game is about getting brains, right? You get like a certain amount of brains, 13 or whatever. Once you get a certain amount of brains, you're the zombie. You live. You win. But these are the dice, and you roll. And I even got the add-on dice, and it's a fun little quick game. I need to, some are you roll them out, and then you keep the ones that are brains, and then there's other ones that are like a gunshot, and you get wounded. So if you get 3 of these, you're out, or your turn's done, and the next zombie. Anyway, it's a fun, simple little game, and it's definitely fun to have around the table. It's very easy to play, so that after a meal kind of thing. So that's a great game to have, like especially if you're into zombie stuff, or into horror. So that's a fun little game to have. And very cheap too. Another one that I actually enjoy is, and I got this from my dad. He passed away, but is a Mexican Train. That's cultural appropriation game, I guess. With dominoes, it's pretty fun, pretty simple. You know, you just build out. Each person has to build out their, get rid of their dominoes. You know, in their little train, whatever. But we do like to play this one too. So I think I'm into these very simple, dumb games where you just kind of go around and doing your quick turn. That's cool with me. Yeah, I think I'm the champ in this one. I'm not sure. We have fun with this. You know, simple trivia with the kids. Definitely when we were younger. They were younger. We definitely did that one a few times. This game, a few times I'm into Godzilla. I grew up with Godzilla, so Godzilla's a big. I didn't really mention it much, but I have like all the Godzilla DVDs, all the movies. The one I don't have is the first one, the original. I don't have that one. But I have all the other Godzillas, and I loved that whole goofy kid period, like Godzilla versus Megalon. That was like my favorite with the robot dude. Freaking love that, man. I even have all the toys, like the 6-inch figures, in a box somewhere. You know, I had them all on display at one point when I was a doofus. But anyway, I'm into. So I even got like a role playing game of Godzilla, and I bought little tanks, those perfect little like 16 millimeter or whatever they are, that perfect size for the 6-inch models. But I never could. Who am I gonna play it with? You know, I never got to really play with anyone, so that's sad. But and I got this, and we played with the daughters a couple times, but nothing. It just never really, never really hit. And so this is kind of the way I look at most board games today, like especially the really overly designed ones with all the cards and all the little character sheet type of cards and dice and all the little toys that you get with it. You got the map here, you got all the little miniature giants and then the little tanks and little jets and little, all the little power ups and little dudes there. So this is the way I kind of view most like Kickstarter board games now, is like really like complicated like this, and it kind of there's like a 20-page book or 16-page book that you got to read. So these are the kind of things where I'm a little I'm not really into, because you got to like all know the rules, you got to invest the time to do it, and then you got to set it up. And it takes like, it's not just an after dinner. This is not an after dinner game. This is take up a 3-4 hour session game. I'm like, I could just be role playing at that point. I could just do an RPG. I'd rather do an RPG than this type of game. Like the other ones, they're quick and easy. You just set them up and play after dinner. This you cannot play after dinner, right? I mean, I'm in the sense of it's 3 hours. It's not just like an hour game after dinner kind of thing. So, not as much as I love this, the look of it, the what's the nostalgic feel of it, I can't really play it with anybody. Then this same thing, but even worse. This is Last Night of the Earth. Same thing in the sense of long setup. You get these little board things. You get little zombie, the guys and the zombies, and the way you play it out. And they even give you a CD with music on it so you can play it. So I really try to get into my family to play, my wife and daughters to play this, and they played a little. We played a little, but they were just not into it. And I'm like, yeah. I played with my friend once, and we played it, but then we never played it again. And we were both into zombies, right? But then we never played it again. So that's kind of a bummer. Great, great artwork. Great, you have to have. I suspect definitely that people will have fun with these games if they're all into it, like really into gaming, right? Or board games and stuff. But I just couldn't get my family into it. And I don't have a group locally that I can get into. I'm a weird guy. Like in LA, a lot of you guys out there I know have a group that you kind of live near and always play games with. So that's really cool. Here in LA, we're very transient. The people, our lives. So the group that I had when I was after college, after UCLA, that I had here, it was interesting. We were all struggling artists, musicians. I was obviously a painter guy, art guy, and then went into CG and CG production. But a lot of them were musicians actually in rock bands, like trying to make their thing happen. It's funny, none of us made it like in that big famous way, in that sense. But everyone like made it successfully financially anyway. That's kind of interesting, in different ways. And a couple of them, 3 of them are actually still in bands, like little cover bands. That culture. That's a very interesting culture. Little cover bands, little play local bars, but they've moved away. Most of them have moved away. I only have like 1 or 2 left out of like 8. And but we follow them on Facebook. We talk once in a while. But it's interesting. And one's actually kind of producing movies, working on movies, and sort of in and out of there. So there's a little bit of vagueness in there as far as successes and stuff. But my core group that I played with have all moved away, gone other places. A couple of them have disappeared into drugs or I don't know what else, or just lost contact with. But I just don't have that a group anymore that that I grew up with, and so that's kind of a bummer. But this game, look how old school I am with trying to go with board games. I don't know if any of you have this game. I love Star Troopers. I saw the movie in the ArcLight. It was called the Cinerama Dome back in the day. I saw Starship Troopers at the Cinerama Dome several times. Everyone stood up and clapped. That was how good it was, but yet it bombed financially, But it was a great film, and we all laughed, and it was a great time. And I went and saw it like 3 or 4 times. Like that's probably the only movie I ever went back to the cinema to watch it over and over and over. Because I was totally into it. I'm totally into the Starship Troopers Exterminator game. I like to jump in and play like 30 minutes, game. Anyway, so this is the board game, and I played like once or twice with friends into it. Then we never played it again. Just never got into it. It's kind of fun, silly little concept. You get little cards, these little card things. I should just sell these, eBay these. I don't know. I never use them. So there's that. This game, I'm just bringing it up if any of you have ever seen this game. It's a very funny little. You play like a virus that goes into you go into a. Are you the SNIT? Or the SNIT is what you're trying to go into. Steve Jackson Games. I remember getting an early Steve Jackson game that really got me. I don't have it. It was in a little plastic Ziploc with a little board. I bought a couple, and those little cardboard things, and they were just like X's and zeros, but they represented like a tank or a armored vehicle. This was a long time ago before any of this, right? And I remember getting that going, oh, what is this? Because nostalgia, not the word, but whatever the word is that gets me into it hits my cerebral cortex and draws me into an imaginative, creative world of whatever. It was like a Arctic battle. I don't know if any of you are going to catch on it. The Steve Jackson game. I probably could look it up, but it was a little envelope with a little card sheet and a little punch out things. It was my first intro into war games, or the sense of other. I could play a game where I could actually represent toys on with a map and turns, like that concept. Because obviously I played with my action figures all the time. But then to say, oh, there's rules you can use to make it more to come out more tangibly as a realistic scenario. I really got into that. So this is this is weird. I'm going off on a tangent here, but this game, and I bought it on eBay because I never played it. I've only played it back in the day a few times. I bought it today or recently, years ago, but in my adult life, because I was going to play with my kids and show them it, but I just never got around to doing it. I just haven't done it. But this game I played. So I must have had a high IQ. I must have or had. I don't think I have a high IQ now. It's definitely deteriorated. But when I was a kid, they did this whole IQ testing thing, and then I was selected amongst a few in my school and a couple other schools. We went once a week to a university, New Mexico State University, and we went to a enrichment resource center. It was sort of like an experimental thing that the principal at my school's wife and some other people ran, and I didn't know her personally. I was selected through the testing, so I don't know. I don't know if it was favoritism or what, but there was only a handful of us. And we would go on the bus to a university and go there once a week and do all these creative things, like we watched Cosmos, or they had like a Native American Indian come and give a demonstration of stuff, Or we learned about SCA, the Society for Creative and Excellence. There, a guy showed his all his stuff he had. It was all like masking tapes, duct tape stuff too. I remember, and we watched Cosmos, and I got to do like this. I did like a news reporter comedy bit routine, once a week or whenever I started doing it for them, and blah blah blah. And then we learned about this game. We learned about other games like this, like that are very creative and different. I learned about the game Dungeon from them. We didn't do Dungeons and Dragons, but I learned about that board game Dungeon from them. Anyway, it was very weird. But I learned that's where I got this from, and it was very strange. Okay, so board games. I don't like board games. I know I even have one of my players who way into board games. He's got a whole wall of board games. I just don't get into them because of my DNA is into my love is for storytelling and creating stories that you invest in time in. So that's really the difference. If you're like after dinner though, you cannot play. I cannot play, even with my DNA. I cannot play a role playing game, because I'm tired. I'm digesting. So that's to me where dice games and card games come in, and are very handy, quick and easy to set up, quick and easy to play. So obviously they all have their valid points. Board games are really great for kids. For adults, I think you're foolish to play a board game. No, I'm kidding. Those board games that are just big and require a lot of investment. The thing about them, I think, is hard is that everyone needs to know the rules in a sense, or follows the rules. I feel like too in those ones that are really complicated, everyone needs to know the rules because you all have all the stuff, all the props. In role playing games though, really the only person who needs to know the rules really is the GM. The other players can just play along. They might need to know really just their list of skills and gear, but that's all on a piece of paper. You don't need a whole, you don't need a bunch of props. Or I'm gonna stretch and show you my armpit, my cute little armpit sweat. Okay, I don't know. What's my point here? Our TTRs are the best games in general. Yeah, I don't know if they are the best games in general. Board games, I mean, if you just look financially, accessibility, money-wise, market-wise, board games are obviously the biggest. Card games are the classics, dice games. So those are, they all got they're all the giants. TTRPGs are obviously much smaller. They're obviously growing. It's a new concept. But it's also an investment. So of time and commitment. And I think most of your friends, Rob, or family would not have that time or commitment or desire to once a week or once every 2 weeks to always commit 3 hours to a game. That's the issue. Would they want to? Would they want to commit to that? Are they into creating a story collaboratively and really putting their acting acumen into it? Most people are not into that. Most people could take it or leave it. And if they can take it or leave it, then that's probably not going to be a very good campaign. You have to have people that you can tell are invested in it, understand the concept, want to do it, and then you'll have a campaign or a good campaign. You should have a good campaign at that point. But if they're just, oh, that's neat, let me try it, that's interesting, a one-shot, mini-shot, nothing more than that, because you're not going to get a campaign out of them. And it's just, no matter how good you are, I've GM'd for 45 years, and I have no issue with people that are, I'm not really that interested, or, it's not that great. I have no issue with that at all. I'm not going to change my GMing, style or anything because of it. It's really you and the players have to be invested in it and want to do it. And as long as you're not a jerk about it or anything as a GM, you always favor the players when it comes to decision making process. And the other thing is always be grateful when they correct you on rules. Be grateful. Don't be defensive or anything. Be. I am so now, after so many years, I've now become grateful for that because I just forget. I get a little too excited. I bulldog my way through sometimes, and I'll forgo the rules, which is not a good thing to do for a GM or players, especially if players do it and the GM notices. So you don't want to dish it out and then have to take it. So you definitely want them to call you on rules. I think that's a good thing, and slow you down and have you step back a little. So that's a good thing. Again, let me round this off with why I think For the Lord RPGs, Christian families and Christian groups. Well, I say this all the time, but the RPG culture is pretty bad as far as pushing an agenda. And I don't hate these guys that make these RPGs or these publishing games. I don't hate them necessarily. I don't hate them, but they need to wake up if they're Christian. If they're not Christian, keep going, doing what you're doing. That's fine. I'm totally. If you are a Christian, you need to wake up and start dabbling into evangelism and church planting. Now, I don't mind if I'm being contentious. I'm pushing an agenda. I don't mind if Christians play other role playing games, right? I don't mind, but I'm pushing the fact that you're always playing pagans and never playing a Christian, and you're not playing a Christian because they tell you not to. So you're seceding. You're already seceding so easily in a game. What about in life? You're going to be doing that too. Like, you have to be all rounded in your faith in Christ everywhere. Obviously, I'm not in when I go to a goth club, but so yeah, we all need a break. But you need to. Although I might wear this shirt that has Jesus on it. But it's funny is when I do go to the goth club, I think about Christ even when I'm there. Like, these people, their lost souls, how they are, the sexual deviancy that some of them display. I just think about I don't go anywhere where you're gonna be led to sin. But sometimes you got to go places where it's dark and sinister. That's part of your sin nature. But you still want to bring Christ in somehow. But I don't know if I'm going to do it. Anyway. I don't go that much. But anyway, so, and I go with my wife. I it's our old style of romance or whatever. I don't know why I'm going on with that. But anyway, my point being that we all need a break from Christ, right? We need a little break. Believe it or not, don't tell Jesus. We do need sometimes to be our little. Now it can't be something where you get a break and then you're like continually build up your sin. It's more of like just being silly and stupid, and have a good time. But so I understand playing these other games and I get it. But at the same time, we keep giving up our faith. We keep giving up while they push their agenda. They keep pushing this agenda. And the whole thing about women playing as men agenda is so stupid. And we've accepted it as the norm. It's not the norm. I'm going to make a video on that again. I made a few where we are erasing women from the RPG and making them men and saying that's equality. We're saying it's equal that they do what men do, and we don't have anything in what women actually do in real life in an RPG. And RPGs are, and same with stories, fantasy or not, they're meant to represent. They're sort of we're meant to cling to some bits of reality in the game without pushing, So, and then erasing that reality for entertainment purposes is fine, but erasing that reality to push an agenda is, you notice it, you're turned off by it. The reality of it needs to still be there, like that women are not stronger than men or as men. Now, if you have Amazonian women and it's a specific storyline, see, that makes sense because you're not pushing an agenda, you're going off of a story. But if you have women that are, I can do this and better than you men, and I am a woman, that kind of agenda, that's ridiculous. And that's sort of what I've been saying over and over with everything, with gay, with trans, with making the church the villain because they're pushing an agenda of getting rid of Jesus Christ, getting rid of the church, erasing us. And that's why I'm saying we have got to make games that extol the virtues of the church, that have civilized the West, created the freedom and liberties that we have, ended slavery. It tried slavery. Actually, the church did not even try slavery. The church has always been against slavery. It's the Christians who try slavery and then realize, okay, this is starting to suck, and it took us 300 years to realize that, and we have to kill our own just to end it. Whereas the pagans kept going on with slavery before and after, and then we had to go and fight them to end it. So we're erasing that. And the pagans are extolling their own virtues as if the Christian virtues as if it's their own. And that's the problem. And we're teaching the kids that. And that's the problem. That's all they're learning now. So as a Christian, it is your duty, although we don't have duties or duty. We don't have a duties, but we have desires and loves for Jesus Christ to fight the good fight. So that's why I'm pushing my game. I'm being contentious because it's like I want to go along to get along, but then I don't want to go along to get along, right? Because Jesus didn't go along to get along. I know Paul was much more about love and patience, but Jesus was contentious. And Paul was. Think about this: all the disciples and Paul were executed. All the apostles and Paul were executed, tortured, imprisoned, executed. Why? Because they were going along to get along, or because they said stuff that was the truth and then ticked off others. And in the end, the pagans are going to make you take the knee. And if you don't take the knee, you're going to be persecuted. The problem is that you've been taking the knee this whole time. You don't even realize it. They're just going to keep making you take the knee more and more. And at some point, they're going to expose by forcing you to take the knee in a real sense when you've been taking the knee this whole time, because you have not been bringing Jesus into the game or into the culture of it all. So it's not about being nice. Pagans can be nice. You know, it's not about being nice. It's about the gospel. It's about evangelism and church planting. Planting a church in the RPG culture. And so that's what I'm trying to do with this is you all need to create a fellowship with this game, get other men of, and I kind of specifically talk in a male oriented way, because women can play the game certainly and be part of the game, and that's for sure. I don't have a problem with that. And obviously there's women characters in it, but I'm talking as a man, two men, and how the church is supposed to be men doing the deeds. And remember, for us, leadership, that term is defined as serving others. So when we are leadership over the church, or we're serving it, we're leadership over our wives, we're serving them. When we're in a leadership position as a pastor and elders, what are you doing? You're serving. Under pagans, kind of a different meaning for them, for leadership. Leadership to them is tyranny. You're a slave and they're the master. And that's the thing about witches. Witches are slaves to a master, sorcerer, warlock, or whatever. Everything I've read and even seen in today, there's always a man, always some sort of dude controlling the witches, or they're subservient to, or they always need a man, for sure. They always need a man for enforcing anything. But anyway, I'm going off. I'm rambling. Okay, so that's my take on it. I think that's answered your question, Rob. Anyway, so that's my take. I don't do board games and dice. I mean, I have some and I do them, but my love and DNA is in the RPG, obviously. And again, if you want players, the payoff of RPGs is a long campaign, and you need players that really are into it, and you can tell they're into it because they put that extra effort into it when you're not playing. Like they're into it. They come back with new stuff or questions or info or whatever outside of it, that they come into the game, bring to the game. If no one brings anything to the game and they just show up and then they play and then they leave and they never talk about it again, that's probably not going to be a good player in the end. I mean, if they show up consistently, great. But you have a game when they're all talking about it, or before and after, during, blah blah blah. All right, that's my take on that. All right, in the game of life, everybody. Oh, I think I might do a board game for some of them, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't have time. Anyway, the game of life. Roll holy dice.